On our summer 2021 mini Midwest road trip, my friends and I couldn't help but go to Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville, Kentucky. This park is only an hour or two from Holiday World, a park we were already going to go to, so it's pretty easy to hit up Kentucky Kingdom on the same trip. Kentucky Kingdom had been a bucket list park for me for a while. Though the park doesn't have a crazy amount of coasters like Cedar Point, it definitely has a few really good quality rides. Specifically their two airtime machines, Lightning Run and Storm Chaser. Conveniently, the same weekend of Hollywood Nights is also when Kentucky Kingdom hosts their equivalent thrill seeker event called Keys to the Kingdom. Our group spent 2 days at the park. So what did we think of Keys to the Kingdom and Kentucky Kingdom overall? Find out next on Coaster Jawn. As a disclaimer, when I planned this video, I thought I had vlogged a lot more than I actually did. I guess my voice finally caved in.
Flashback.
Voyage is in fact open today.
End of flashback.
So even though the description of this video says park review and vlog, it's definitely a lot more park review than it is vlog. So I'm sorry to disappoint. But just look at how good that thumbnail looks. See, the title of the video looks like the logo. See it? I mean, I couldn't not have the word vlog in the name of the video with a thumbnail like that. But anyways, I digress. If you've seen my Holiday World / Hollywood Nights review, you'll know that the two visits were pretty intertwined, mostly because of the Voyage closing. If you haven't seen it, I suggest watching that video first, so I'll link it above. Voyage closed Friday, June 4th due to a tragic accident, so it was possible that it might have been closed for the rest of that weekend. With that in mind, to maximize our time away from home, my group decided to hit up Kentucky Kingdom that following Saturday, June 5th, during the day, and then return to Holiday World later that evening for night rides. Our second day at the park was on Sunday, and that was for Keys to the Kingdom, which we would also be attending. So luckily we ordered 2-day out-of-state tickets to Kentucky Kingdom in advance, so we had the flexibility to go there both days. Like the Holiday World review, this video will break down both of my days at Kentucky Kingdom. So day 1 at Kentucky Kingdom was more or less a half day, but we still got a lot done, and I had a great visit, so let's get into it. We got to the park for our first visit on Saturday, June 5th, about an hour after opening. This was because we didn't time our drive back into the Eastern time zone well enough. I'm an East Coast guy, and I suck at time zones. Oh well. First, we made our way to the back of the park to get our first rides on the park's RMC hybrid coaster built in 2016 called Storm Chaser. No, wrong Storm Chaser. This Storm Chaser. Yeah, that's more like it. This is a really good coaster to start your day off with, because not a lot of people go back there first thing when the park opens. So Storm Chaser was a walk-on, and we were able to get 3 rides immediately. Storm Chaser was a coaster that I was looking forward to riding for a long time, because not only is it an RMC, whose coasters are amazing, but it also seemed like a very unique one as well. It definitely lived up to the hype when I rode it, but it was still a mid to bottom tier RMC, because like I said, RMC is amazing, so it's a really tight race. As many thrill seekers do, we sat in the back row of the train, which gave insane ejector airtime, as expected. That barrel roll down drop is so unique, and was the first one I had ever experienced. It's definitely a bonkers way to start off a ride, as you rapidly get pulled and whipped through that element. Next is probably the best sustained moment of airtime with a large airtime hill. From there, this twisty airtime-filled layout with constant off-axis airtime hills, overbank turns, and a 0G roll for good measure is the perfect example of what RMC is capable of. However, Storm Chaser was running a little bit slow at the start of the day, and does have a somewhat short layout compared to other RMCs, so it doesn't quite get a perfect score, but it is still well deserving of a 9.5 out of 10 for its uniquely thrilling and surprisingly aggressive layout. Our next ride of the day was on Storm Chaser's neighboring coaster, Thunder Run, a Din Corporation wooden coaster built in 1990. I had heard mixed reviews about Thunder Run going in. Some people say it has some solid airtime and is a fun layout, while others find it to be a boring layout with little to no forces. I would say that I found myself agreeing with the latter. Thunder Run really didn't do anything for me at all. While sitting in the back, I didn't really experience any moments of airtime or good laterals, but my biggest complaint with this ride are the multiple sections of straight track, which quite literally do nothing. I was definitely a little disappointed with Thunder Run, as it's honestly one of my least favorite wooden coasters out there. I only give it a score of 5 out of 10, which I actually think is pretty generous, but at least the ride is a little smooth? I don't know. Thunder Run, not a fan. We then moved on to the park's other woody, Kentucky Flyer, a Gravity Group family wooden coaster built in 2019. To get here, you have to go around the Hurricane Bay water park section, which seemed like a decent water park, but we skipped out on it. Kentucky Flyer has a tiny bit of theming compared to the other coasters, and even though it's about half the height of Thunder Run, Kentucky Flyer is significantly better in my opinion. Gravity Group really doesn't miss, and their family coaster model has been a big success for smaller parks like Quasi and Sesame Place. I hope that Gravity Group continues to rep these out, because they're a lot of fun, giving some pretty solid airtime throughout. It's also hard to beat the comfortability of the Timberliner restraints, so overall this ride is just plain enjoyable. While I would still take a coaster like Oscar's Wacky Taxi over it, Kentucky Flyer wasn't bad, but I will say that the airtime was weaker than Oscar's. After 2 rides, I would give Kentucky Flyer a respectable 7 out of 10, because it's a lot of fun, but it was definitely more tame than I expected. Regardless, Kentucky Flyer is a great fit for Kentucky Kingdom, and is a perfectly enjoyable experience for parkgoers young and old. On a side note, one specific complaint I had with this park was their water and drink policy. When we visited, it was a transitional period during COVID, as parks were trying to move back to their old policies. However, Kentucky Kingdom still had some COVID policies in place. For example, their water fountains were turned off. Because of this, you had to wait in long lines at the soda machines just to get water. What made this process even worse was that many stations only had 1 employee pouring each guest their individual drinks, also because of COVID, which was monotonous to say the least. Comparing this to Holiday World, which has free drink machines in which you quickly fill up your own cups, is pretty embarrassing.
But I'm not done yet!
To add insult to injury, once we waited in that terribly long line and just wanted water, the employee tried to charge us for it, but I told her that the water fountains were off and that we had no other way to hydrate. Also, I believe any fountain drinks were supposed to be included with the price of our admission. So I'm not sure if this was the employee's first day or if they were undertrained. Either way, not giving free water on a hot summer day is inexcusable. I'll give Kentucky Kingdom the benefit of the doubt though, that they are likely having the exact same staffing issues that businesses across the country have had in 2021. So I guess that explains it. Our water woes were redeemed by another drink station, which gladly gave us both free water and free soft drinks. Once again, I really am not sure what the confusion was for the first employee who gave us an issue, but yeah, give people water for crying out loud. Okay, now that I'm done with that Karen session, let's get back into the coasters. Luckily, we were able to hydrate before our dreadful rides on T3, the park's Vekoma suspended looping coaster. This SLC is so bad, even Kentucky Kingdom's social media channels make fun of it. Regardless of the bad things I had heard about T3, I still went into my ride with the hope that it wasn't the worst SLC and that I could find some redeeming qualities of this ride. Well, to be perfectly honest, I was wrong. Dead wrong. For even thinking that anything could be redeemed from this ride.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
T3 is definitely the worst SLC I've been on, but not because of bad restraints or headbanging. Don't get me wrong, the restraints are pretty weird, but at least they don't come anywhere near your head, because if they did, you'd come out with a concussion. The main thing that makes T3 so rough and painful is the awful track alignment. With every single element and transition, you hit massive potholes which violently jerk the train from side to side. Yeah, this thing is bad. I guess you could say it's forceful and the drop is okay, but other than that, it's a 3.5 out of 10. Kentucky Kingdom, burn this thing down.
I say let it die. Let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up.
After T3, we finally made our way to Lightning Run, one of the more famous coasters at this park. This Chance Rides Hyper GTX built in 2014 was so good. We had to wait something like 40 minutes to get on because the operations weren't the best, but this thing is awesome. Kentucky Kingdom's best 2 coasters sure do give a crazy amount of ejector airtime, and Lightning Run certainly delivers. The only nitpick on this ride is that the restraints aren't the best. It's very difficult to get any room under your lap bar, and you're likely to get stapled, but even with a tight restraint, you can still feel all the crazy amounts of airtime this ride has. I liked Lightning Run so much after that first visit that I actually had it ranked higher than Storm Chaser, for the time being. I'm quite shocked that more parks haven't built these in the last 7 years since Lightning Run is open, especially since it's a smaller scale, affordable coaster, but I'm still holding out hope. Lightning Run scores 9.5 out of 10, and would probably have gotten a perfect score if it weren't for its restraints. The last credit we needed at the park was the kiddie credit, Roller Skater, a Vekoma Junior coaster.
Junior?
This coaster was fine, a solid kiddie credit built over a small little creek. Roller Skater has a decent twister layout, but is obviously meant for the younger ones. It's also tucked away in a weird section of the park, right next to the crosswalk over the road that divides the park into 2 halves, which is another strange thing about Kentucky Kingdom. The ride also broke down when we came back into the station, and we were stuck for about 10 minutes. Despite these minor inconveniences, Roller Skater still earns a 2 out of 10. Which is pretty good for a kiddie coaster. After that ride is when we decided to head out for the day. Like I said, we only spent a half day there, and then headed back to Holiday World once we had heard the news that Voyage had reopened. Day 2 also began in Indiana, bright and early, as check-in for Keys to the Kingdom began at 8 a.m. So we had to wake up really early to beat that pesky time zone shift. We bought our 2-day tickets to Kentucky Kingdom far in advance, but Keys to the Kingdom was a separately ticketed event in which we could not upgrade our tickets. So we had to bite the bullet and buy Keys to the Kingdom tickets on top of the tickets we already had. To save money, we got the discounted tickets that didn't include food. So naturally, we got Cane's for lunch, a Midwest staple.
But Raising Cane's was phenomenal. Easily my favorite chicken sandwich I've ever had. Oh my God, it was amazing.
But before lunch, we had our early morning exclusive ride time on Storm Chaser. Luckily, we made our way over there quickly and were the first riders of the day. It was raining on and off, so the track was nice and slick, and you could tell. Storm Chaser was absolutely hauling, and it was during these rides when I wondered, is the front better than the back? Typically on most airtime-focused coasters, the best place to experience all the airtime is in the back. But the front gave uniquely different airtime than the back, and I think overall I actually preferred the front on Storm Chaser. I can always appreciate a coaster that's great no matter where you sit, and Storm Chaser is the perfect example. After 3 rides on Storm Chaser to start off our second day, we decided to try out Thunder Run once again, this time closer to the front. And it was still meh. But after that, we got more rides on the superior insert weather run, Lightning Run. This time I tried both front and back, and the back row is definitely the go-to row. It was after these rides on Lightning Run is when I determined that Storm Chaser was the superior coaster. Lightning Run is fun either way, but Storm Chaser is definitely better because it doesn't matter where you sit at all. After that, it was time for one of the main events of Keys to the Kingdom, the Celebrity Panel, featuring various roller coaster influencers, most notably Derek from XscreamThrills. His channel is one of my favorites, so I highly suggest checking it out. I'll link it in the description below. Later on was another perk of Keys to the Kingdom, a walk-back tour of Lightning Run, where we could all get really cool views of Lightning Run and snap as many pictures and videos as our little enthusiast hearts desire.
Wow, I wonder what shot everybody wants. Surely it's not that one.
About halfway through the day, bigger storms started approaching, but we all wanted to get at least one more ride on Storm Chaser. So my group, as well as many other enthusiasts we were all hanging out with, decided to quite literally chase storms on Storm Chaser. And we got the last ride before the coaster shut down due to thunderstorms. Because it started raining right after we got back into the station, a lot of us got stuck at Storm Chaser's exit, under the overhang where the train leaves the station. It was definitely a bizarrely fun experience, as almost 20 of us were packed in tightly trying to stay dry.
You can easily fit a raptor in this plot of area right in here where we are. You can easily fit a raptor.
Did we chase the storm or did the storm chase us?
Storm chased us.
The storm has chased us. Oh, that's it. That's it.
But that didn't last very long, as some of us got bored and decided they wanted to get absolutely drenched instead. So that's what we did. Once the storms cleared, in attempts to dry off, we all went to the last really cool event of Keys to the Kingdom, the Boneyard Tour. During this tour, park officials led us outside of the park to a storage area where parts of defunct rides were being kept. Some of the artifacts included the flywheel launch system from the park's defunct Schwarzkopf shuttle loop coaster Greased Lightning, and the chain from the defunct wooden coaster Twisted Twins, where Storm Chaser is now built. It was super interesting seeing all of the history that this park has to offer, and it was the first time I had ever seen anything like this at a park. So good for you, Kentucky Kingdom, for putting on such a great event and making it worth our money. We concluded our day with even more rides on Storm Chaser, bringing our total for the day to 8, and 10 total between both days. We decided to head out of the park early because we were exhausted from the weekend. We could have stayed until 10 p.m. for more ERT and night rides, but we had a pretty sweet Airbnb in downtown Louisville, so we wanted to explore the city, and we most certainly did.
Through the hoops. It's totally oh, Germans. Welcome back, riders. How was that ride?
Pretty rough in the back. Especially.
Yeah.
Just a little retrack, but you know, we're fine.
Now you must acquire a taste for freeform jazz.
Welcome back, riders. How was that? You guys are so.
Going back to Kentucky Kingdom, Storm Chaser is definitely the crown jewel of this park, and I'm so grateful that we got so many good rides on it. I would say my biggest surprises were just how aggressive Storm Chaser and Lightning Run were. I loved how well the park staff coordinated Keys to the Kingdom. That was also a plus. Conversely, the whole free water debacle was quite frustrating, and the operations were pretty bad at times. But I'd say that just like everywhere else in the country, Kentucky Kingdom just needs more staff. My biggest disappointments ride-wise were how boring Thunder Run was and how jerky T3 was. Other than that, it's a pretty cool park. I would still take Holiday World over it, but for what you get with pretty cheap tickets, Kentucky Kingdom is definitely worth a visit. And that's all for the Kentucky Kingdom park review and, quote, vlog. Like I said, it was a lot more review than vlog, but I hope you still enjoyed it nonetheless. Have you ever been to Kentucky Kingdom? How did your visit compare to mine? Leave a comment down below about your thoughts on the park, its coasters, and more. To get more videos like this in the future, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Until next time, this has been Coaster Jawn. Ride on.